Good morning, Topic Mixer family. I hope you're having a great and wonderful holiday. I have three wonderful topics I want to talk about today, so let's get started. Bill Cosby was released from jail on Wednesday, June 30th, after the Pennsylvania Supreme Court found that Cosby's conviction was a violation of his 2004 immunity deal with then prosecutor Bruce Kastner in exchange for testimony in the civil suit against Cosby. The information from Cosby's deposition was released in 2015, and the new prosecutor at the time decided to use this to bring criminal charges against Cosby in violation of the original agreement. So, as you can see here, Cosby was released from jail, and there's been a lot of controversy as to whether he's guilty or innocent or whatever. The courts pretty much said that they have to bury this case. So, in other words, based on what he was convicted for, it's buried. So you can take that however you wanted to. If he's not really innocent, as far as I'm concerned. He committed the act. I mean, he admitted it as such. But because he has immunity from prosecution, he cannot be convicted of the crime. And that's how that works. Was it a poor deal at the time? And does it suck? Yeah. I'm a big fan of Cosby. I loved the Cosby Show back in the day. His stand-up was on point. He was cleaner than, say, Sanford and Son or Richard Pryor back in the day. But he was on point with those things. For a while, he was a great spokesman and everything. I think the one place where, like I said, he failed was here. Of course, with women, this is awful. This is terrible to find out that Bill Cosby, somebody that you hold in high regard, did such horrible and terrible things to women. So, to be honest with you, there's no win-loss feel here for this. I did have a problem with the prosecution because I felt the real reason behind the prosecution was because Bill Cosby was trying to make a lot of moves. He was big on civil rights. He was trying to make a boss move, as far as what people like to call it, boss move. Sorry. As far as trying to buy a major news network. And I don't think too many people like that. So when this prosecution came available, as you know, it was like a big blow up. It was just all of a sudden Bill Cosby out of woodworks. But the Me Too movement, this was a strike against the Me Too movement, and I don't want to strike against the Me Too movement. I want the Me Too movement to continue and to continue to doing the work that these women are doing, because truth to power. That's what it is. It's truth to power, because there are men out there who abuse their power and their position, and Bill Cosby's story is an example of that. He's not the only one. I mean, Hollywood is full of it. Washington, D.C. is full of the same stories. Big CEOs of companies. It happens all over the place. You've probably seen my video on Jeffrey Epstein. If you have not, you need to see that video. It's an older video. It gives some evidence as to what happened with Jeffrey Epstein as well. And the fact that there's basically a black book full of men of power having sex and doing other unspeakable things with young girls who are of a young age, with no consequences whatsoever. So that's my take on the Bill Cosby story. And it's sad all the way around. Yes, he's 83 years old. He's out of jail now. A lot of people said, you put this old man in jail for an old crime. But, we're talking about a violation from 2004, which is, almost 20 years old. But still, that's important because it's about something he was doing during the course of his lifetime. And Cosby's not the only one. Like I said, a lot of men of power, people with money and status, have done some pretty sick things. Epstein is one. The other gentleman from they just convicted him for all the sexual assaults against the people, and he was a producer. Come on, guys, and we're talking about presidents, prime ministers, executives and CEOs of companies that are in that black book for Epstein that they say they can't find. Bill Cosby, Trump. There's just a few other people on that list. People that have been in contact with Epstein. So, I mean, not Bill Cosby, but our former president. So, Bill Clinton. Like I said, this is just a sad story all around. He's released now. I feel sorry for the victims. At the same time, there's a side of me that says I'm happy he's out of jail at 83 years old. Because I don't want to see anybody. I really don't like seeing people in jail, period. But he committed a crime and he paid for it. And now his reputation is shot. That's gone. All he can do is be an old man sitting at home. That's all I can say about that. She Carrie Richardson, who qualified for the 100-meter dash in the Olympics for Team USA with a blistering 10.89 seconds, was disqualified for failing her post-trials drug test. It was reported by the USDA on Friday, July 2nd, that Richardson had tested positive for THC on an ingredient commonly found in marijuana, and Ms. Richardson admitted and apologized for her use and disappointing her fans on the Today Show. She Carrie had lost her birth mother only a week before the trials and claimed she was dealing with mental health issues. That was also the reason she said she smoked the marijuana. I want to bring up a couple of things here. For one thing, there are a lot of negative things being said about this young lady, and I find that so disheartening. Commonly, when somebody makes a mistake, people beat you when you're down. And that's what's going on with She Carrie Richardson. Secondly, there's something else you need to know. This law was recently passed by the USDA. This is a rule that recently included. And what's funny is we're moving into an era where Democrat, Republican, conservative, or liberal, more and more people are saying that marijuana should be legal in the United States. That's why I find this quite disturbing in the first place, that this rule is still there. So what this means for her is that she's been disqualified. Now that she's admitted to a deal, she's going to be disqualified for 30 days. So that means she would miss the 100-meter dash in the Olympics. She may be available for the 100-meter relay. It's up to whether the team decides to keep her or not. Nike so far says, hey, they're sticking with She Carrie Richardson. It's a blunt. It's a mistake, sure. And I have to give my take on that. A lot of Americans are disappointed, and they're expressing their disappointment because they would like to see an opportunity for us to win. We've been losing a lot lately to Jamaicans and some other Africans and the Canadians. But we've got a strong team this year, and She Carrie was one of the strongest members of that team. So I understand the disappointment. What I don't like is what I see as the hate. So it's something I said on my Facebook post, and I'm going to say it here. He, without sin, cast the first stone. We've all done something that's disappointing in our life that has been earth-shaking and shattering to some of the things that we want to do in our life, but we've all recovered. So we're all finding our place and our voice in the world. And the same thing with She Carrie. I'm just being real honest with you. When I read this story, we're talking about a girl who's dealing with a lot of issues. And then listening to her post-trials interview, I can tell she's still dealing with it. And it's not just about her mother. We can see how the situation is. She calls her grandmother her mother. So her grandmother was raising her. Her mother was her birth mother. And her relationship with her was apparently strained. And She Carrie was just having a lot of issues, of course, in life. She's 21 years old. She's a young woman growing up in a world where she's got Nike promoting her, and she's dealing with a lot of things. I can understand that. So then the whole thing was she was disqualified because of marijuana. And again, this is something USDA recently put in. Let's think about another person. I'm going to bring her up. I believe her name's Deandra O'Neill. She's been disqualified for 5 years for banned substances relating to enhancing drugs. So she just tried to appeal her suspension, and they told her no. They told her no. So that's another American who will not be able to participate in the games anytime soon. And she was a promising athlete back in 2016. She was a 100-meter hurdler. Now, Miss Richards' violation to me was minor compared to that one because it doesn't enhance her performance in any way. I guess they assume that it would hurt her performance because she's tested positive for marijuana, but I don't have that same feeling for that. And as someone who does not use the drug and is opposed to using the drug, I'm not opposed to people having the right to use the drug if it becomes legal. And I have this to say. She realized that there was a rule in place. And let's put it this way. There was a rule in place that said that marijuana was illegal. Yet, I guess it was somewhere within that week, she decided to smoke pot. And she was hoping it would be clear of her system, excuse me, by the time the trials came. Of course, that was not the case. But she also, in her maturity, admitted to her use of this, and she talked about some other issues that she was going through during her apology. So, like I said, we will do everything we can to help her. We will continue our deal with her. They also would like to deal with her mental illness issues if they can, if they help her out with that. And that's something we have to deal with in the world. Mental illness is something that strikes a lot of people in different ways. It can cause depression, cause people to do some weird actions and behaviors. We've heard of bipolar syndrome. We heard, like you said, depression. There are other mental illnesses out there, narcissism, just to name a few, that are problems in the world today. And it can be caused by socioeconomic issues. I don't know what the strain was between her and her mother, and I don't know what effects that has, but it's got to be strenuous. You're trying to get in the Olympics, and there's a lot of eyeballs on you, and you're this person that's kind of damaged. Things can happen. So, what am I going to say about this? Let me just say this. She Carrie Richardson deserves an appeal on this, to me. I think and the USDA needs to rethink this rule in the first place. As far as marijuana goes, I think they do. You got to remember that not too long ago, Michael Phelps himself used marijuana and was in the Olympics. He was He was the admitted marijuana user. So that's why I'm sort of skeptical about this whole thing. Meanwhile, you have athletes around the world that are using far worse substances, putting them in their body to enhance their performance. And of course, they will be disqualified if they're caught, like Miss O'Neal. But as far as this goes, She Carrie will pay the price for her mistake. And it's a big mistake. Like I said, you knew the rules. You knew what they were going to do. I'm not here to condemn you or punish you. It's disappointing because you were one of the promising people on the team. And there's a lot of, Allison Felix is back this year. Look at the blistering time we got in that 400-meter hurdle. World record was broken. We've got some horses this year. Woo! I can't wait to see the Olympics. It's going to be awesome on the women's side. On the men's side, too. I think it's going to be great on the Styles on the men's side, awesome. I think the relay teams got a chance to win it all. They coming up against some Jamaicans and the Nigerians who are coming on strong. Ugandans too. Oh man, they something else. But we have an opportunity this year to come out strong, and I will be glad to see how we do in the Olympics this year. And I hope She Carrie gets to compete in the relays. I hope they appeal this and she gets a chance to compete in the 100-meter dash. All right, Top of Mix family, if you love what we were discussing here today, please hit that like button and subscribe. Hit that like button and subscribe. Your subscriptions take this broadcast further and can increase in what we do here and make it better. So please hit that like button and subscribe. And I hope you have a wonderful 4th of July. And if you like what you heard here or want to discuss what you had here, just comment below.